Welcome back, subscribers, and hello YouTube viewers. On this occasion we're at the castle ruins in a small village called Vrana. Now once again it's just my interpretation of how to pronounce it. If I've done it incorrectly, so be it. So let's explore this ruins. It's a castle, it's definitely a castle, and let's see what we see. This could be quite spectacular. Just driving up here, you don't really notice it until you turn around the corner of this relatively small village, and then you realise how big this once was. So let's have a look. No need to look at me all the time. So I'll spin the camera around and let's see what we see. So here she is. It is a spectacular castle ruins, without a shadow of doubt. And there is a big notice board here, and I'll just read it quickly, just the main highlights of it, and I'll get you to pause if you choose to pause when I actually focus in on it. So it's known as the Town of Kings, this place called Vrana, and this old town was built, or this fortress was built in the 9th century. So that's the 9th century. So this is getting pretty old now. It does state that the old town of Vrana has long been guarded by the symbols of authority, insignia of the Croatian kingdom, which is why the coronation of the Croatian Hungarian King Koloman was held in Beograd, a nearby royal residence. So there's a major town just nearby here. It's like a stone throw away, so to speak. Probably take you 5 minutes at the most by car. And so this area was known as pretty much an important place in Croatia's heritage and history. So we'll go have a look. It is turning into a bit of a tourist town as well. There is a lake that's not too far away, or it might be connected to the Adriatic once again. I should be able to get the drone up, but this could be quite spectacular, because this is not a small little piece of ruin. There's supposed to be a lot of walls that we can still see. It's not well known to the locals. Once again, I am staying in a place called Zadar, which is a relatively large city. And when I spoke to my neighbour where I'm going, he was to a certain degree clueless where I was going, but I wanted to just acknowledge that, have fun out there, because he seems to see me go out every day looking at things. So this is the actual plaque, and it does state that it was built in the 9th century as a Byzantine monastery dedicated to Saint Bishop Gregory. The old town of Vrana controls grand land holdings and the rich treasury containing a silver casket, which is the holy relics of Saint Gregory, crosses, I can't read that word, it's been bombed by bird poop, and 2 golden crowns decorated with precious stones. So once again, I'll zoom a little bit closer and press pause if you want to continue reading. On the left is in Croatian, on the right is in English. So there's our path that we'll take to make our way to the ruins. So it does look quite spectacular. I think, yeah, once we get the drone up, you'll get a better perspective what it looks like. So I might as well walk you in. The path is not fantastic, but it's a path nonetheless. Should this be made into more of a tourist sort of location? I think so. But that's just my thoughts. As you can see, as we creep up to it, there's a lot of things. I can just imagine how thick those walls are. We don't have to think about it, you can see it. And that's really to protect cannon balls coming through. And I think for a long time it was able to do that, and eventually, like everything, for every defence there will be an offence created to defeat the defence. Now this here, which we're going to walk into now, looks like a bit of a church. So if it was once a monastery, I would say that this is the actual church without the roof. I'll just show you without the roof. Now once again, there might have been movement with the land and the footings, but not everything is level with these ruins. It's built to last without a shadow of doubt, but the spirit level was not in play and it's all line of sight in the construction. So as we spin around, if this is the altar where the priest would do his service, this would be the entry point. Wow, it's pretty spectacular, to be fair. Let me just climb down here on these rickety steps, which someone has put there just to make it easier for most. And this is the castle ruins proper. Oh, yeah, it's going to be a bit difficult. We'll go up. I'll go up as high as I can. It does look like it's all been overgrown. It is what it is. So we'll take all that in. And as you can see, it's all overgrown. Now there is a path to that doorway just there, which we'll try to make our way to. But we've got to sort of trek through all that. I think we might be able to find a path from where we are. So this is the outside of the, what I believe to be the church ruins. So let's continue on. Okay, so we've been able to make it to this doorway that I saw in the distance. And let's see what's beyond the door, or the archway. And we have another little walkway, and a little bit more structure to this castle. And oh yeah, this extends for quite some way. So now we're well and truly into it, and it's a big area. It's not like one of the small little fortresses that we see, or castles, or monasteries, or nunneries, or whatever you want to call this. Was something substantial. Okay, I'll try to find the tallest or the highest point so we get a better overall view of the area. So here we are. I'm standing on top of one of the walls, and as you can see, the perimeter wall is extremely thick. Once again, I'm just assuming that's to prevent cannonballs coming through. There's what I thought was the church, and then, as you can see, it is quite an area that this castle occupied. It is a shame that the growth of the forest, or the trees and everything within, hasn't been kept to an absolute minimum, so you get a better perspective of what you're looking at. But it is what it is. Now if you look over my shoulder or over my head, you'll see where there is like a large lake, but I'm going to have to double check on the Google Maps to see if that's part of the Adriatic, and it's one of the inlets, I guess, from there. I think it is. I don't think it's a standalone lake, but I could be wrong. And just in the distance also, you will see that larger city that was a dominant area during the Croatian heritage, I guess, and its origins, which is just great. It really is a lovely location, and it's worth a trip out. So just to give you an idea, we've come through that path down in the bottom center of your screen at the moment, and we've stood next to this wall here in the middle of your screen, and then in the background we also stood up there where you got to see like a selfie, I guess, of me giving you a 360. So now there's a path. It's barely visible, but there's definitely one here that will take you to this structure. What this is, I have no idea, but I'm sure as we get closer we can surmise and guess. But yeah, once again, it's the difficulty of walking here. It's pretty easy. Just bear in mind that the shrubs and some of the plantation in the area does have thorns on it, so long pants and some sturdy shoes. Sandals won't cut it. and shorts won't, unless you're game. I'm just going to watch your step, I guess, but these thorns are pretty deadly. They will cut you quite easily, not a problem. So let's have a look in here. Okay, so this is of some significance for the fortress or the castle, purely because it's still standing and it must have had some importance. And there's a lot of holes in the actual walls here, so I'm not sure if it's a case of that's where they placed planks for extra floors. I have no idea. Once again, I'm no expert at all in anything to do with castles, fortresses, ruins, monasteries, any of that sort of stuff. I'm just giving you my 2 cents worth on what I'm actually seeing, but just lovely. It really is. Yes, Croatia's got one of the most beautiful coastlines, I would say, in the world. And it very much is on the bucket list of many people from around the world. But it is worthwhile sometimes just coming out and going inland just a little bit to check out some of these things. It's just fantastic. Obviously it's a time thing, so if you've got a short-term holiday, the coastline will be just fine and you'll get to see some amazing buildings, history, and all that sort of stuff. But I'm one of those guys that has to look at things outside the square, so to speak, and off the beaten track just a little bit, not too much. And this is what we uncover. Just fantastic. Now, there's another path here. These rocks, it has been raining the night before, so that's why the rocks are a little bit slippery. It is after 10 o'clock in the morning, so this was a late start for me. I'd like to be on my way by no later than, say, 8 a.m. to come out to these locations. And this was a 30-minute drive from Zadar. So Zadar has been proven to be quite the place to find things off the beaten track. That's not to say that if you were to go to Zagreb, the capital, that in that location you'll have endless things to look at as well, other than the standard tourism or tourist locations. So we've just left that structure to make our way to this structure. As you can see, there are thorns. Just be got to be careful where you go, and if it catches you, just stop and peel it off your clothes. So this is another sort of structure, and we've hit pretty much a dead end, so we can't go any further than this. As you can see, the vines have taken over, which is lovely. I don't mind the vines growing in some of these ruins. It's all the other trees and shrubs and some of these weeds are quite bad, but anyway, it is what it is. We're going to try to make our way to that corner. I do believe there's a path, and let's see if we can get there. I'll turn the camera off and then I'll reconnect when I get closer. So here we are on the far perimeter of these ruins, and there is a huge gully basically straight down. So if you're to fall, you're not surviving that drop, no matter what. Now unfortunately litter has been dropped here, which is a bit sad. But directly behind the ruins is a market garden, which is just fantastic. So they're a farming produce type of setup. Guy's working pretty hard there at his tractor. The other thing you'll notice is some of these tractors look extremely vintage, and yes they are. And I think like most farmers, they try to keep their machines going as long as they can without having to replace it. And while it still works, you still use it. And that one seems to go quite well. So once again, we'll pan around to the ruins And what a great sight it is. It really does give you a perspective now that I'm at the very back of it. I'm assuming I'm at the back of it. The size and scale of this place. So we're able to walk straight through the middle there, and once again you really do need some sort of long pants. What I am discovering in Croatia in particular is when you go through all these sort of bushland and scrubland, there's no spiders or spider webs. So I'm not sure about all that. I know that back at home when I'm wandering around, you always seem to walk through spider webs all over the place, but I don't think I've ever seen a spider yet. Definitely flies. Flies are a common thing, and I can tell you that what appears to be a mosquito are extremely huge. They have the longest legs of a mosquito type insect that I've ever seen. They are just like 5 times the size of your standard Australian mosquito. They are huge. But once again, just lovely. I just want to show you the background again, or the farming area behind these ruins. Now, things never fail me in Croatia. I've just done the video of walking around and getting the drone up at the old sort of fortress or castle, is what they're calling it, that needs a little bit of attention. And directly in front of it, which is just I wouldn't even say 100 metres, you come across this building. And this is also sort of not really listed anywhere as a place to come, but it does have significant historical heritage overlay in relation to that it's a monastery. It's now also a restaurant location, but this has been noted with the Historical Society of Croatia, and it has been cared for, which is just fantastic. So it is a historical or cultural owned property that the country of Croatia is now looking after, and it's just fantastic. And I wouldn't have known it was here if I didn't go on this road. Now, once again, taking the less travelled roads, you do stumble into all sorts of things. Sometimes it will be highlighted on your Google Maps, and if you do a search on the internet for things. But on this occasion, when I was looking up this old castle, there was no mention of this behind me. So we've got to have a look. It is actually, I've gone through the front door already, which is just through there. There's a few plaques. It's fantastic. I'll have to get the drone up here as well. So as much as we might have finished up on that last castle, we're at the monastery now, and let's go have a look at this thing. So here we are. It is a heritage hotel restaurant, and it is absolutely spectacular. So once again, the facade looks well, historic, medieval. There's a little insignia there that we'll look at with the EU flag flying proudly, and if we get closer to it, it does read that it's the cultural property was reconstructed with the support of the European Union. So it is like heritage listed, I'm guessing. But check this out. Wow. So it's called, at the moment, because it's run as a restaurant, Hotel Baština Heritage, which is just great. And I'm guessing it being run as a hotel, they're able to generate some income to maintain the building, which is very important. Now we do have a plaque here, some nice photos. There's oh, look at that. This could be something out of a Harry Potter type setup. Just lovely. Okay, once again, I'll show you where it's in English. And if you'd like to press pause, by all means, press pause now and have a bit of a read. So there you go. The construction started in 1644. So not as old as what I believe the old castle was that we've just seen, but nonetheless, still very old. And if you want details to this hotel, if you'd like to stay here, these are all the details. Once again, just press pause. Once again, there is a tendency for me to sometimes read out what I'm seeing, but the problem is the video goes for way too long, and it does appear that people lose interest pretty quickly. So here's your entrance to this location. So the monastery was a religious sort of setup. This is their courtyard, I gather. And there are some defensive things here. Now, I think this is called a trebuchet or a catapult. I think the French called it trebuchets or to that effect, or a catapult. So you put whatever you're going to fling at, if I can point, at that end. the counterweight flops down and that flingshots the sucker over and up and out. But just terrific. So there are some stones about. They look very much Romanistic. I'm not sure if they are. Once again, I'm not an expert. It's just what I see. And I'm happy to be proven wrong. And I should be proven wrong. But I'm just giving people who are watching an idea of what we're looking at. So here's definitely something with age, for sure. Wow, check out this. That's just fantastic. There is a restaurant here, so you don't actually have to stay here to stay the night. You can just come to get a meal. But just wonderful. It does have an artificial roof to keep the weather out, to protect the archaeology, I guess, if that's what you're going to call it. Just fantastic. Now, did they have heated underground heating with all these rows of channels in the floor? So I'm just going to keep it going. I'm not going to turn off the camera. So you obviously can come here for a cup of coffee, a glass of wine, rest your feet. There's bathrooms here. Lovely looking arches. The arches are not stereotypical of what I'm sort of used to seeing. Normally they've got a curve, not to a point. And there was some mention about some sort of Turkish involvement, so maybe that's an indication who helped build this place. I do like the row of chimneys, and these are the apartments that you can stay at, which is just fantastic. So each chimney, I'm assuming, is something relatively new. And if you do want to stay here, you would have seen the information at the entrance. So all these little chimneys are to heat their little apartments, which is just fantastic. So it is great because now they're able to have some funds made available for the upkeep of this monastery. There you go. So you've got the pointy arches. It's just fantastic. Okay, so there is a couple here who are staying the night. We've got the cleaners in cleaning, which is just great, and we'll make our way out. Just fantastic. We'll go this way. I've been the other way. There are some stones. Whether or not that there is a cannonball, I doubt, because it's made out of, well, maybe it's made out of stone, not concrete, so I don't know. Those that are in the know are saying, that's not a cannonball, that's something else. Well, that's the idea of me pointing the camera towards those things. If you do know, by all means share it so that others will know. Make your way here. I think we're going to get a great image of it with the drone, when the drone goes up. So once again, we are very close to that lake, or what I believe to be just an inlet from the Adriatic. So you've got water sports in the area, not too far away. So coming to this Vrana is what I'm calling the area, or the town. There's a lot to offer because you're not too far away from a bigger city. But you've got all this history, and once again, it's just lovely. When you get the place to yourself to do basically whatever you want to a certain degree. I have asked someone that appears to be employed here, and he said there was no issues about taking photos, videos, or if I choose to put the drone up, which is just great. Doesn't hurt to ask when you can ask, and I would have put it up anyway. And as I've said on numerous occasions, with my drone, whether or not, it doesn't matter which country I'm in, Australia, Europe, anywhere, I always log into their software, and it does give me a heads up on whether or not I can fly there or not. And if it tells you you can't, well then you can't, and it's just the way it is. So as you can see, it is a sleepy hollow of a town, but would have been quite significant back in the day. Now there's one other thing we're just going to walk to, and I know it's going to take a little bit of time, but I'm assuming this is where the local water came from. And I'm starting to see this a little bit more often, or taking note of it, and I guess it's like the local well that you'd have in many country towns. So you'd come here with your buckets and whatnot of water, whatever, and I can tell you this particular one isn't, well, it's old, there's no question about it being old, it's nearly 100 years old, but it suggests that this was created in 1927. So this was between the wars of the First and Second. We've got here another sign which is just fantastic. It tells you about the drinking water, and I'll just quickly have a quick look. Once again, just press pause. The other good thing about it is you've got a little bicycle rack here. So obviously this is a great location for cyclists who, I guess during the summer months, it's not that cold here at the moment, and you can obviously come here and pump up your bike, place it on the stand. I think we're seeing that more and more worldwide, where they're trying to promote cycling for better health. So here we have a few more ruins that are associated maybe with this church, or this monastery I should say. So there you have it. So once again, here we are at the end of this video. If you did like the video, by all means, click on that like button or that thumbs up icon. Please consider subscribing. Subscribing does not cost you 1 cent. It helps out the channel immensely, but most importantly, stay safe wherever you are, commute safe wherever you are, and have a great day. And thanks for watching. Bye for now.